Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Chairman Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And we always want to give you updates, especially when it comes from things happening over in Lafourche Parish. We welcome in Captain Brendan Mathern. Brendan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Keith.
Absolutely. I think it's probably important that we start off with some of that news that's a little bit more important to others. Talk a little bit about this shooting that was taking place in Gaines over on February 1st.
Yeah, so on that day, really just an unusual circumstance. In broad daylight, we had a gentleman that was driving at high rates of speed along Highway 654 in Gaines. We got reports of a shooting that would have occurred in and around the area near 308 as 654 approaches 308. Apparently, through investigation, we learned that this individual, the shooter, was traveling at a high rate of speed in the opposite direction of a man lift, and followed immediately by a cautionary vehicle that was escorting the man lift, and just for unknown reasons opened fire on both vehicles. The suspect shot through his own windshield at the other two vehicles. Miraculously, there were only minor injuries in the shooting from the two victims that were hit by what looks like one was possibly hit by grazed by a bullet, and obviously some cuts from the glass. That was the only injuries to the victims. As the shooter continued down Highway 654, at around the intersection with the Gaines Shortcut Road, he crashed into a sugarcane field. His truck that he was driving immediately caught fire. Deputies and local fire department responded, put out the fire. And when they did, we didn't realize that there was someone still in the vehicle. But as they were putting out the fire, the shooter emerged from the vehicle and was ultimately doused from the fire department there and treated, given first aid on scene. EMTs arrived, and he was actually airlifted to a hospital in New Orleans, where as of today, 6 days later, he remains in critical condition, probably mostly from the burns that he suffered in that particular crash. So no charges have been filed yet because the shooter in this circumstance is still in critical condition in the hospital. Upon his release, he would be facing obvious criminal charges from this. And unfortunately, even after interviewing the victims, no connection that we can ascertain from the victims and the shooter. So we're hoping that in speaking to the shooter that we're able to, figure out why this all occurred.
Wow, very interesting, and we'll bring more answers to you when we get them. The Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over is always such a great campaign because it reminds people that we need to just pay attention to not drink and drive this time of year or any time.
Yeah, and you see our logo there branded with some Mardi Gras colors. Obviously, this is our Mardi Gras edition of Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. Already went through our first weekend of parades here in Lafourche Parish. And I specifically was in the Versailles parade in La Rose, and we had a great time, little to no incidents. Everyone seemed to have a good time, as we had talked about before Mardi Gras, Keith. Our family-friendly Mardi Gras atmosphere here in Lafourche Parish continues to hold true with those parades in La Rose and in Thibodaux this past weekend, with very few, just minor incidents, if any, on both parade routes. So good start to the Mardi Gras season for us here in Lafourche Parish. Obviously, this Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign goes along with that through February 13th. And it should be noted, we won't have checkpoints scheduled during this time. At least we don't have any plan as of this point. But what this campaign does is provide us grant money to put additional deputies on the road, deputies that will be on patrol, but will specifically be looking for signs of impaired driving. So if you're thinking about having that drink, heading to a parade, having a drink, and then driving home, we strongly urge you to reconsider. And if you're going to be going out, please know two things. One, that you have to find a driver. Even if you're having one drink, please find a driver to get you home safely. And two, that if you don't, we will have plenty more deputies on the road looking for the impaired drivers to try to get them off the road. And it's not about writing tickets. It's not about the criminal charges involved, which is both relevant, but it's about keeping families safe. A lot of families are on the road for Mardi Gras. Yes, there's a lot of adults having a lot of adult fun times that do tend to involve alcohol, but that doesn't mean you have to get behind the wheel of a car and endanger yourself and other families as well.
So it's exciting to be able to report. I'm glad that you were able to do that and share with us that Mardi Gras is moving along like we like it to, right? Without any major incidents at all on the first weekend of Mardi Gras. We want that to continue. And also that we've got a lot of people out there helping to remind people that we want to keep it safe for the kids and for families and people from all over the areas.
Right, Keith, and we have another full slate coming up this weekend, starting on Friday night with the crew of Athena and Golden Meadow. We have parades on Saturday and Sunday, including Lockport, Thibodaux, more parades in Golden Meadow, and everywhere in between, and then a slate of 4 parades on Mardi Gras Day. So still plenty of parades to get to in Lafourche Parish. If you missed them this past weekend, we have a wonderful carnival season, as we've talked about before, all family-friendly parades along the routes. We encourage people to come out and support these parades. And hey, it's the biggest free party in the world, right? With Mardi Gras. So
exactly.
We appreciate it. Tell a deputy thank you when you see them on the route. And we appreciate everybody's cooperation in keeping everything safe.
And if anybody is interested, since you guys do such a great job at Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office of taking care of people, there are lots of open positions, and we want them to reach out to you. They can call Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office for that. Brendan, we always thank you and appreciate your time.
Thank you, Keith. We appreciate it.
All right. Happy Mardi Gras.
You too.
All right. Thank you. And that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more Bayou time when we continue.